Can you hear Dusty when you hear Cody talk?
Sometimes, yeah.
I'm not talking about the content or even the lisp. I'm talking about the inflection, the cadence. If you close your eyes, I thought Cody's promo to open Dynamite was brilliant because not only because of the content, and he obviously worked hard on it to tie in what they were doing and what was going on in the world with their situation, but Dusty had that roller coaster inflection. Dusty had that cadence where he'd spit a bunch of words out quick and then he'd draw back a little bit, or he'd say something loud, but then he'd throw away an aside like, wasn't blaming nobody but myself. Cody does the same thing, but instead of, it's the opposite in some ways because it's not Dusty shucking and jiving, and it's not mispronouncing words on purpose, and it's not doing that whole thing to be cool because 70s cool was like that, but Cody has taken the way that Dusty talked, the patterns, the inflection, the cadence, the way that he made points and came to the end of a sentence, and he's gone the complete other way with it, and he uses words that almost nobody can pronounce correctly, and he can still spit them out fast, and he didn't. That was one take, and he had great content and great delivery and didn't fumfer. He used his acting training. I know he's taken acting classes, and normally I would hate that because wrestling's not acting, it's reacting. But he's used his acting training to be himself. He's not acting, but he's speaking from his heart with the acting training to back him up. But he still has conviction. He's not playing a part. Do you see that with the similarities with him and Dusty, even though content-wise and verbally they're almost completely polar opposite?
I could see what you're saying. However, I also think at times, and I'm going through one of those periods with Cody where I'm kind of going the other way again, where I think it is too much acting and it doesn't feel genuine. Even if what he's trying to say are the points, the way he's presenting it doesn't feel natural to me right now. And I've gone through different periods with Cody. Before AEW, I thought he was completely preposterous and just, completely preposterous, baby. I blame no one but myself. I thought he was completely preposterous and just pretentious. And then I got into him with AEW when he had guys to, do his promos about, and he got the fire up a little bit. But now the last few weeks, I've kind of gone the other way again, where it feels too, for me, phony.
I don't know. I thought he did a great job with this one because I was sitting there going, could I have done that promo that smooth? And
it may just be me. I'm willing to bet that I'm probably the only person out there who thinks that right now about Cody, but that's the way I feel at the moment.
I think you're in the minority on this promo. I think, but
probably
I've seen what you're saying in the past. I've seen what him cross over into a little theatricalness, but but here's the problem. He had to hand it off. And then here came Kenny Olivier and Matt Jackson. And it instantly made it acting to me because neither one of them is the thespian, the lesbian, the orator, the oraler, whatever the case. They're not Cody. Olivier gets in and tries to emote, but he's got such a wishy-washy, unconvincing demeanor to me to begin with that you could tell he almost looked at one time and looked up at where Cody would look at the camera, right? Olivier was kind of looking up and going, well, we don't know whether we'll even be here and such and whatever the fuck. He's trying to be dramatic. And then Matt Jackson is a little bit better on the mic, but he looks like a child. So I thought that once that Cody did that great buildup and had to hand it off to him, the energy level dropped. And when Paige came out, when they said, can we all be together? And he just gives them the cheers, right, with the beer. Did he have to come out like he was drinking at a wake? Wouldn't the fucking cowboy shit guy have come out fucking hot dogging a little bit with some personality, or maybe jaw jacking, or with some personality or facial expression besides a somber cheers? What about, okay, you got it, we're going to do some cowboy shit or whatever, and then a little shot at Matt. I don't know. It just, that was a little flat to me, just the little cheers thing, because it was so quiet there. If people had been reacting to it, maybe it would have been different.
See, I thought that was the best part, actually. I thought that was the perfect way to handle that. Because it was dark, because there were no fans. I mean, at that point, you didn't even know there were wrestlers sitting in the audience. You just thought it was...
But why couldn't Paige have come out and just even said something off microphone from the back, and he could still give him a cheers, but just not be so just laid back and somber faced and just...
But it matched the tone of the entire opening promo. If he had come out there like that, I think it would have just thrown everything off.
All right, I'll tell you what, I'll give you Cody theatrical and you give me this one or vice versa, because we ain't gonna get into it. But then when Olivier closed up with talking to all the people in TV land, go back and look at this now. When I say this, what I'm about to say, go back and listen to after the page says cheers. Everything Olivier said from that point on sounded like patter at a James Taylor concert. Just fucking, okay, listen, Dynamite. And he tried to put bass in his voice. It's not there. And then they blow off the shit. But and a lot of people on Twitter said, well, they must be listening. And I'm sure they are. They put the boys in the audience in little groups sitting around to pepper the fucking place. And they had shit going on. It's like studio wrestling when there's a fucking blizzard. And 6 fans turn up and not even all your wrestlers. You got to make shit up on the fly. We've done those shows many times over the past 40 years like that. And they were making the best of it, but they weren't making fun of wrestling and just going through the motions. They were letting everybody go out and have the wrestling show, but do their own shit to perk it up a little bit.
That made the show.
Yes. And MJF, of course, as we would think, an MVP. He and Spears are betting, and then Tony wants to get in on it, and he's yelling, and he's got that voice. He never gets sore, and you can hear that motherfucker a mile away. But, so that made some atmosphere. It doesn't have to be, the focus doesn't have to be on the lit up empty building. Look how many empty seats we got. The focus is we can have people, but we're still going to have a show, and it's got to have some energy. And of course, I mean, they shit the bed right off. Here comes fucking Best Friends, but I understand it could be worse because it was supposed to be a 6-man and Pockets was supposed to be involved.
But what did you think? I mean, the other big decision I thought, and I saw some other people on Twitter thought the same thing, was that they didn't shoot the empty seats. The stage was behind the ring.
Exactly. Hey, most of the television programs I've done in my life, I've spent all kinds of time and effort trying to shoot around empty seats. I don't shoot them on purpose. Yes, they shot the stage so that it wasn't jumping out at you that this place was empty. And you could hear some people and you could see some people, and there were people at ringside. It just wasn't a lot of them. But so you understood that, okay, this is, everybody knows why they can't have fans, but still it's death. It's just a closed set. It's fucking a hollow, echo. No, you have some energy, and it's not, I've seen people actually say they should just pipe in the crowd noise. Oh my fucking God. Besides the fact that if they had the WCW people piping in the crowd noise, when they used to sweeten the audio, when Vince started doing it, Turner started doing it back in the early 90s, and they were so bad at it, you could actually, when guys were in a stationary headlock, you could hear people hitting the mat, bumping from the match they took the cheers and boos from. But no, even if you pipe it in the building where the guys can hear it, it's recorded noise. It's not about the noise. It's never been about the noise. It's about the reaction and the feedback and the energy and so it's not even about the volume of the noise. It's about whether it's actually happening in response to what you're doing, both for the performers and for the viewer. You could play a goddamn tape of a 10-minute standing ovation audio in the background of a shitty match. It ain't going to make it any better, and it ain't going to make the fucking guys in the ring make it any better. But if real human beings in real time are there reacting, the ooh to the potato, or the yay to the return, or the boo to the fuck finish, or whatever. That's what makes this. That's what I was saying last week. You got to have some kind of feedback. It's not about the volume of noise and when it was recorded. It's about the in the moment. It's reaction, not noise. And this showed the difference. Did it not? Quite plainly?
Absolutely.
Which is why I told them that they couldn't do it the other way. So All Elite Wrestling listens to me.